Good afternoon, Cedarfield family. My name is Michael Shaw. I'm the very proud Executive Director of Cedarfield. Thank you for tuning into this live chat here on September 2nd, Wednesday at 3 o'clock. If you're here at the community, we are very thankful that you're taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to some information we have to share. And additionally, if you are viewing this video tonight in the comfort of your own home, taking time away from your family, we appreciate you listening to some updates about Cedarfield operations and where we're at with our evolving preparedness plan around COVID-19. Since we skipped last week, since we had a resident council meeting, just as a refresher for those residents or families or team members that are listening, either live or via video, and are just interested in the COVID information, yours truly will share that information here in the next 15 minutes, along with our evolving preparedness plan. Those of you that just want that information, we'll be sharing that again in the next 15 minutes. And then from about quarter after 3 to about 4 o'clock, the additional speakers here today that will share some information. We have a housekeeping update, a pharmacy update, a human resources update, and a wellness and leisure update. And then yours truly will come back after that and give a little bit more detail of some administrative things happening around the community. And then Margaret will cap off our live chat here with some good news and some spiritual words of well-being. So that's our format for today. But first, COVID-19. Some of the data, since we kind of skipped last week, I think it's important to share some of the facts that are happening globally, nationally, and regionally. Globally, worldwide, we have 26 million cases of COVID-19. 2 weeks ago, we were at about 22 million. As a result of that, worldwide, unfortunately, there are 864,000 people who have passed away from this pandemic. That is an increase of about 6%. This time 2 weeks ago, there were 785,000 people who had passed away. Nationally, here in the United States, we're at about 6.2 million cases, and that is up from about 5.6 million cases about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, there were about 174,000 unfortunate deaths in the United States due to this pandemic. And as of about an hour ago, we rest here at 189,000. So things are speeding up now, as was predicted by the CDC a couple of months ago. Regionally, here in the Commonwealth, as of about an hour ago, we have 122,000 cases across the Commonwealth, which is about the state of Virginia sits at a ranking of 16th among all the states. There are 2,641 deaths in the Commonwealth. That's up from 2,410 2 weeks ago. The main metric that everyone is very focused on right now is the 7-day positivity rate. And in the Commonwealth of Virginia, that positivity rate is creeping up, it's trending up. Again, as of earlier this afternoon, it is at 7.9%. And 2 weeks ago, we were sitting at 7.2%. Here locally in Henrico County, things are also trending up. Currently, we have 4,670 cases of COVID-19 throughout these last 27 weeks. That increase has increased from 4,202 2 weeks ago. So we still, in Henrico County, we still rest at a ranking countywide of 5th within the county with the most cases. 2 weeks ago, we were sitting at an unfortunate 187 deaths in Henrico County, and that number is now 194. So 7 additional citizens in our county have passed away since we last spoke. Our 7-day positivity rate in Henrico County 2 weeks ago was 8.1%, and today it is 9.4%. So that's trending obviously up. Remember these positivity rates. Later in this COVID presentation, we're going to talk about a Medicare ruling that just came out yesterday from CMS. Two more counties, Chesterfield. Chesterfield has a cumulative case count of 5,146 cases. They are the 4th county ranking in the Commonwealth with the most cases. And since this time 2 weeks ago, 7 additional citizens in that county unfortunately passed away. They arrested 83 deaths in that county. Chesterfield's 7-day positivity rate is 7.1%, trending up from 2 weeks ago at 6.3%. A little ray of good news here. Richmond, if we're just talking about the 7-day positivity rate, the city of Richmond is at 5.2%, their positivity rate over 7 days, which actually has trended down from 6.1% 2 weeks ago. So I'm interested to talk to the folks in the Virginia Department of Health and epidemiologists to understand why is that happening in the city. We have a call later tomorrow. So those are some of the statistics, more of the narrative around COVID-19. We are in our 27th week of implementing a COVID-19 evolving preparedness plan. And our goal has been and always will be, some days it's more trying than others due to the number of questions that come in or trying to come up with exceptions to our preparedness plan. But believe it or not, yours truly, the leadership team of this campus, the management team, we are honestly just trying to keep everybody safe, keep people alive, keep people healthy through this pandemic. That is our main goal, and I'll share some of the community-wide dashboard metrics here in a second. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about Medicare. So Medicare, we are not a Medicare-approved community. We will be, though, in the next 2 years. But Medicare really has a lion's share of regulations, of which over 11,000 nursing homes across the country need to comport with. They just came out with a ruling yesterday, and it is as follows. If your health district, which our health district is Virginia Department of Health, which covers Richmond and Henrico County, if your health district's 7-day positivity rate is less than 5% on an average of 30 days, you have to test every team member for once a month. If that positivity rate, your 7-day positivity rate in your local municipality, your health district, is between 5 and 10%, you need to test every team member every week. So that was quite a shockwave that went through many leaders across our field, across our industry. Prior to yesterday, the ruling was if you had a positive case in a certain area, you had to test twice in 2 weeks, and then if you're 14 days free of COVID, then you can stop testing. Now Medicare is saying that regardless of what your efforts are in your local community, the county will dictate that measurement of your 7-day positivity rate will dictate how often you test. So we are not a Medicare approved community yet. However, the health districts across the country are taking the lead from Medicare in order to help guide nursing homes, assisted living communities, retirement communities like ours at the local level in order to come up with a 3-phase plan. So right now, as we speak, there's 3 things that are kind of percolating within administration to come up with our 3-phase plan. One is what I just referred to. The Virginia Department of Health has not made a ruling yet on what Medicare has made nationally. So we're waiting on our friends, our partners over at Virginia Department of Health to say how they intend to interpret that ruling from Medicare. Second is Department of Labor. Department of Labor, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, came out with many requirements and regulations. And so Cedarfield is still trying to learn of what those are and how they fit into our community and how they fit into different parts of our community. And then the third piece that we're still trying to navigate through is N95 fit testing. You might have noticed at the top of the hour I kind of had a different one on. I went through fit testing class about an hour ago, and this was the best one that my face was formed to, although it doesn't actually comport 100% with the curvature of my face, and so I did not actually pass the fit testing test. I have to go through that test at a later date when we get different type of inventory of N95 masks to see if a different brand, a different size within a different brand will comport to my face. So we were up there for an hour and a half and I failed that test. We have to perform that training for over 125 people in health services. It's a very tall task. It is not an easy process to fit test team members properly for these masks. So between those 3 things, new ruling on Medicare, a very recent ruling from the Department of Health, and then this last requirement that we need to attest to the Virginia Department of Health that we are intending to comply with, all of that helps us lead into understanding what our phase 1 will be in our licensed areas. So the residents in assisted living that are listening to this live chat here, you are, and the residents and team members down in memory support, or the residents that are in health center. Those residents and those team members right now are top of mind with leadership of Cedarfield. We actually have a meeting, next meeting on Friday, at 9:30 in the morning to talk about, again, our phase 1 plan for these licensed areas. So it's a little bit of an update on the license side. The good news is, additionally, when we talk about our COVID-19 dashboard, looking for green items, yellow items, or red items, our dashboard is completely green right now in memory support, assisted living, and in the health center, meaning there are no COVID-19 cases in the licensed areas. There are no tests that are pending in any of the laboratories for COVID-19. We don't know of any team member and or resident that is on a contact trace list. We don't have any resident under our old 14-day quarantining definition. So the licensed area is completely green. Our dashboard is green. So that is good news. I hope everyone feels encouraged by that great news. That's our benchmark, our yardstick, our measurement of success. That dashboard is 100% green right now. So the next layer here is to help work through all of these requirements and regulations so that we can get into phase 1 in these licensed areas. It will be a huge relief to loosen things up around the dining program, group activities, to name 2 items. And then the third thing would be this 14-day quarantine. So let me talk about that 14-day quarantine before we launch into the licensed areas. We took a step back over the last week and a half and partnered with the Virginia Department of Health, and we're talking about the 14-day quarantine. It's one of the top 3 things on the resident and team members' mind of the things that just give us the most angst. That we have to quarantine for 14 days for a laundry list of items. And this is the current definition of what those laundry list of items is. Oh, my computer's now not cooperating. So we had a 14-day quarantine, mandatory 14-day quarantine for the following, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. If you traveled internationally, you had to quarantine for 14 days. If you traveled within the United States by a plane, by a train, by a taxi, you had to 14-day quarantine. If you left the Commonwealth of Virginia, we would require a 14-day quarantine. If you went to a hotspot, where isn't a hotspot now, but if you went to a hotspot, like Northern Virginia was labeled as a hotspot by the governor a few weeks ago. Virginia Beach was trending on that list towards the end of July, beginning of August. If you were in a hotspot, you had to go through a 14-day quarantine upon arrival back to the community. If you were on a contact trace list, you would have to go through some sort of 14-day quarantine expectation. If you had a test pending for COVID-19, you had to go through a quarantining. Obviously, if you were COVID positive 19, you had to go through a 14. But the big stickler had to do with the hospital. If you went to the ER department and you only saw the doctor, you had to go through a 14-day quarantine. So a few of us gathered over the last 2 weeks and partnered with the Pinnacle Living Office. We partnered with asked recommendations from the epidemiologist at the county level, and talked with a couple of residents, and like I said, many of the team members, including our infection control nurse, Connie McGowan. We all got together and talked about, does this make sense? And the answer to all of us was no. It doesn't make sense to have this broad of a definition for quarantining folks. So we rolled out a new policy for the team members, which is identical to the policy that we're going to roll out for the residents. COVID-19 is everywhere. There's no way that this 14-day quarantining can control that. The only way that's going to rule the day, as everyone has heard through the CDC officials, is the basics of what we all know now, is wearing a mask, washing our hands, staying 6 feet apart, and good infection control in your car, in your apartment, or wherever you live. And so those are the things that rule the day, not really people staying under a 14-day quarantine. So the new policy will be, and it's very simple policy, if you want to leave the area overnight, travel, go on vacation, we're not placing any restrictions. There's one exception, but all we're going to ask a team member to do is to connect with their supervisor. They're going to sign a little form that they have been given the CDC guidelines around traveling. And on the other side of this piece of paper is our Cedar Field shared values to keep you safe. And all you're doing is signing, acknowledging, and attesting that this sheet of paper was given to you and that you've read it, and hopefully will comply with it. When a team member comes back from PAL time or vacation, they just have to sign the bottom of this form saying that they have no signs and symptoms, and they complied with all of these shared values. Pretty simple. Hopefully, there's a high level of trust in this, and that all the team members who don't obviously live at Cedar Field will comply with all of these shared values to keep themselves safe, to keep their family safe, and to keep you, the residents, safe. The residents are under the same policy. We asked, for those of you that are in independent living, and if you leave the community, typically many of you call down to the concierge desk. Some of you come down and sign out. When you do that, we just ask the resident to sign that they're getting this form, the CDC guidelines and the Cedar Field shared values, that you've read it, you're going to comply with it to keep yourself safe, your family safe while you're out on vacation, and therefore keeping everybody else safe when you get back here. And so the one exception, which the Virginia Department of Health is guiding us to, is a hospital stay. So believe it or not, you would think that the hospital is the safest place to be, but in fact, all the folks who have COVID-19 gather in those particular settings, and we're more susceptible to potentially some infection within that setting. So their advice to us was to come up with a protocol. If somebody goes to the ER department, do you really have to go through a quarantine when maybe you just got to the ER department and met only one person there? In our definition, the answer is no. If you had an inpatient stay in the hospital for a week and you came in contact with several nurses and therapists, physicians, radiologists, then we would ask somebody to go through a 14-day quarantine. So that's our new policy. All the team members have, the supervisors are updated on this policy, and we're sharing it with you now. Hopefully that is a ray of sunshine coming into the community, some good news about loosening up some of our precautions. Speaking of COVID-19, Atrium Cafe opened up today. All those of you that stopped down to the Atrium Cafe, enjoyed a cup of coffee. It seemed like coffee was the fan favorite this morning. And 12 or 13 people took advantage of lunch today. So Atrium Cafe is open. And the third thing that we want to loosen up, I've talked about this before, I do get to get to Dick Jones and talk about the billiards room so we can loosen up the billiards room and get that going. One final thing with our dashboard with COVID-19 has to do with independent living. And right now we don't have any COVID-19 positive cases. We don't have any COVID-19 tests pending in any laboratory. We don't have any team member or resident on any contact trace list. We don't have any resident that's exhibiting any signs and symptoms, nor any team members. And we don't have anyone that is quarantined for any reason. So that's I'm sorry, went a little over. I promised 15 minutes. That's our COVID-19 information. I'm going to conclude that portion of this live chat. We're going to pivot into some operational updates. And first, Sharon Brown will be here to talk a little bit about some housekeeping updates.
Good evening, all. I have a few things for you all today, and I also have an update. I remember maybe 2 weeks ago, I talked to you all about that we was bumping up out in confession control over Cedarfield. Well, I'm here to say that we have completed our task. We have placed all hand sanitizers in all the entrances throughout the building. So that's all done. And if I have missed any, please give me a call and I'll take care of that. And thank you all for calling, for the phone calls about those things. I have gotten calls about washing bedspreads and blankets. The laundry department is washing bedspreads and blankets. So you like that done, please give housekeeping department a call and we can schedule a day to have them washed. Many of you have questions about carpet and window washing. Yes, we are cleaning carpets and windows in the apartments and the cottage. If you like these things done, please give Glory a call at 474-8806 and she'll put a work order in for you all. And we'll give you a call back to schedule a time and date to have these things done. And if you have any questions that I have talked to you about today, please give me a free call at 474-8817. Thank you. Excuse me, and now we have pharmacy coming up.
Thank you for that great introduction. We'll keep this short and sweet again. I had a resident last 2 weeks ago, came up to me the next day and she said, I just love what you did. You made it short and to the point and got out of there. So I said, okay, I'll do it again. Not a whole lot new this time. I wanted to thank several people that came for the last couple of weeks and signed up to get their prescriptions switched over to us. Others came by and said hi and had questions about things that they needed, didn't realize they could come by and talk. So if you have anything you want to talk about or anything you're not sure of, or just stop on by. I'm there 10 to 3 Monday through Friday. In the back of the gift shop. The girls up front will holler at me. I had a little bell on the door before, on the little counter before, but with COVID, you can't get to it. So just let them know that they'll holler and get me. Just another reminder, we do have, with September starting up in the fall and allergies, we do have allergy medicines out front in the Cedarfield store. I can order stuff for you too if you need it, but we do have nasal sprays and antihistamines, Benadryl, topical creams, just in case you might run into anything. That's it, short and sweet. See you in 2 weeks. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Burkham. I'm the Human Resources Director here at Cedarfield. Currently in Human Resources, we are working on individual development plans, also known as IDPs. Our goal is to get all grades 12 and up completed. This is our annual process that we conduct every year. The IDPs outline the projected growth for team members. It's a document that team members create to learn or improve upon within their roles at Cedarfield. The management strives to help the team members learn and grow within their current positions, or can allow them to grow into another position at Cedarfield if they choose to do so. Thank you for your time today. Rebecca Merritt will be joining you from Wellness and Leisure.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rebecca Merritt, the Director of Wellness and Leisure. I hope that you all are enjoying your September Informer. We have a lot of great upcoming programs this month that I'm really excited about. One is our Labor Day festivities programs that we're going to be enjoying this Monday with food and fun. So there'll be more details to follow, and just look out for the Touchdown slide. We'd love to have you join us. We're also excited that we will be having a fall festival on September 25th to kick off our 25th anniversary year celebrations. Please join us on the 25th to celebrate the 25th. We will have tents with games, events, and entertainment, as well as a fun fall photo booth, which we're excited about. Another thing that I'm excited to announce is that we have hired a new ancillary services manager named Will Stern. Many of you have probably already met Will. He is currently a part-time driver here, and he's wonderful and very excited to come on the team full-time. He has an extensive background in transportation, teaching and training safe transport methods, and transporting individuals with disabilities for local school systems. He also has a hospitality background, which is excellent. He worked at the Ritz-Carlton and has managed large amount of staff members. This is a perfect person to oversee our concierge and transportation team members. So we welcome him Monday. He's coming to help out with our Labor Day program, and then he will be here Tuesday as well. And some good news for the Wellness and Leisure team. We're excited to announce that we have had some increased fitness room orientation. So we're really excited that a lot of residents are getting involved, getting fit, staying active, and coming into our fitness area and having those orientations with Carol. You can call the fitness studio to schedule those with her. We're also excited that Carol is having some increase in our personal training sessions with her. So that's a great way to improve your strength and balance with some individualized attention with Carol. Another thing we're excited about is working closely with our rehab services team here to create a restorative exercise program following residents' discharges from therapy services. So that's one thing we'll be working closely with them that's going to help everyone. With fall prevention, maintaining balance and strength. One other thing we're excited about, we're recording more exercise programs with Carol that are going to be streaming through your Touchdown on our special channel here in-house. So we're going to be changing up some of those, so they'll be playing on the weekends and in the evenings with some new exercise programs. And then finally, we will be restarting our movement disorders support group. And we welcome everyone to join us in the fellowship hall this Friday from 2 to 3 for that extra support. Thank you.
Rebecca has one more thing to chat about.
I'm back. Hi everyone again. So I know that we had scheduled Life Touch to come because the pictorial is a very hot button topic here, and I know you all are really anticipating having a current and updated pictorial here. So we are actually working with Touchtown to update a resident and staff directory. Life Touch unfortunately had to shut down all fall photo sessions. The company has essentially closed for the entire fall season due to COVID. So we are improvising. We're going to be offering in-house photos. More updates are to follow. But we do still have that September 17th date set to take some resident photos. And we'll be putting out some Touchtown slides just to update you all on how we're moving forward with this process, because we're very excited about having it presented to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Sharon and David. Those are great updates. A couple other administrative updates. One, I need to apologize to the residents and probably some team members that I haven't been able to get in contact with. Last week, our Comcast friends came onto the property for 2 days. They had intended to follow a project plan that they had emailed us so that we could stay on task and communicate to people with that project plan. Unfortunately, they cut the main cable line coming into the community at 9:37 in one of those mornings. It was intended to actually splice that line, not actually cut it, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and rightfully so, we received a lot of phone calls in the administration department. I'm on a Zoom call, I have no cable, I have no Wi-Fi. So I just want to send a hearty apology to everybody. We honestly try our hardest to manage the subcontractors that come onto the property, to understand what their scope is if we did not call them in, and what the time frame is of executing their service so that we can communicate with the people. Sometimes those things are just out of our hands. The elevator industry, the cable industry, water would be another one. A lot of times we're at the utility management at the county office. We're just really at the mercy of getting on their schedule and at least folks showing up to perform the service. So, but I did want to apologize, let everyone know it is absolutely our main effort to communicate to people when something will be interrupted. A piece of good news, tomorrow is our 24th birthday here at Cedarfield. We are 24 years young tomorrow, September 3rd, 1996. Was the first day that residents started moving into Cedarfield. So, happy birthday to Cedarfield, which is the whole reason why we are, as Rebecca just mentioned, we are launching into celebrating this next year from September 20 to September 21. We're going to take the next 12 months to celebrate this 25th year, and we're kicking it off on September 25th with a festival here in the Wellness Courtyard. So look forward to more information about our year-long planned activities with a memo coming from me probably at some point next week. Another layer of good news, next Monday is Labor Day. And I don't take Labor Day very lightly, especially in the year 2020. To all the team members that are out there listening to this live chat, the leadership team of Cedarfield and yours truly just wish you the happiest of Labor Days. We hope that every team member truly takes time over this next week to reflect on the hard work that we put in every day. Managing a community like this is obviously very different today than it was Labor Day last year. And everyone's effort, everyone's micro effort of time, whether it's just smiling at a resident and we're passing the hallway, or actually just stopping and talking with a resident, because that might be the only time they get to talk to somebody, given all of these restrictions. Between that and all the other things that happen all the way through actually taking care of residents with COVID-19 in our health center, it's been a very challenging last 9 months. And we just want to wish all the team members the happiest of Labor Days. September is your month. Due to the Heroes campaign, which we raised almost $12,000, in addition to some of the funding here on our local budget, we have lots of events planned for the team members. Seems like something every week is going to happen here for the team members, just to honor them, to celebrate them, and to thank them for their heroic work. Thank them for adapting and changing to new roles. There seems like many days that go by that, especially Renee and I, have the pleasure of listening to all these stories of team members coming into work, and some days they just really don't know what they're stepping into from day to day. So, happy Labor Day to the team of Cedarfield. Mailbox keys. So we delivered mailbox keys earlier in the week. If anyone needs a mailbox key, you can absolutely go see Gloria, and Gloria has those keys to those apartments or cottages, those apartments that did not get their key in the beginning of the week. 2 questions did come in as we were facilitating some of the other agenda items. One is Westminster, Canterbury, and Lakewood are letting visitors in. When are we going to let visitors come to our apartments or cottages? Seems to be the main question here at Cedarfield. Yours truly is reaching out to Barrett Way, the executive director over at Lakewood, and to John, the CEO over at Westminster, Canterbury, to understand how they came up with their plan revolving around visitors. So it's our next agenda item on our 3-phase plan to look at and see what we can do, see how other communities are doing it, and draw on the best practices to keep the community safe. I will just like to highlight one metric that's on our dashboard. We have never had a COVID-19 case in independent living. We haven't had any cases in the cottages. We haven't had any cases in the apartments. And so I would like to think that part of the reason why we don't have our dashboard is completely green is the fact that some of these parameters, and maybe this one is one of them, is helping us prevent the spread of COVID-19. So we want to go at our 3-phase plan cautiously. I do understand that this one is a highlight for many residents. So we're going to be looking at this one next. And the next question that came in, why do I have to give at least a day's notice for my son or daughter to come pick me up? Sometimes it's going to be last minute notice. And the reason for that is we don't want to overburden our concierge desk. We don't believe that it's really their responsibility to make the call of who comes onto the campus or not. So Renee and I are taking the lion's share of that responsibility, and we don't work 7 days a week. And so we ask that people get in their notice by Friday so that we can update the sheets, so that we can update the sheet of who's actually permitted to come onto the property for Saturday and Sunday to the gatehouse, because we're not here on Saturday and Sunday. Well, at least Renee's not. So she has a responsibility to get the gatehouse and the front desk that list. So that's our pure reason. We didn't want to overtax and overburden the concierge. For those of you that are in the wellness building enjoying the pool, I've heard a lot of great reports about the noise noise level, the reduced noise level in the pool, so thank you for that feedback. Pub 2300 is back in operations, for those of you who haven't been up into the restaurants. So we have that space to enjoy again. The Cedarfield Pond in the Wellness Courtyard is up and running. It's very beautiful out there. And if you haven't been outside in and around that wellness building on the north side of the building, I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of it. D-Wing, residents are steadily moving into the 4th floor on D-Wing. We do anticipate the 2nd and the 3rd floor to open up here in the middle of October, as we talked about 2 weeks ago. We should see a couple of residents move into those 2 floors in the middle of the month. The 2nd and the 3rd floor may not be completely renovated by that time, but we will definitely start to move residents back in that area. And then the household building that we are building on the west side of the property. Looks like the schedule did not move last week. I thought it would due to the amount of rain days we had, Nova rain days, but that schedule has not changed. It looks like the latter part of January, beginning of February, we'll get that building. That's it for me. Any other questions come in, Renee? Anything else you can think of that we need to share? Eddie, anything else to share? No? Margaret's here. Margaret's here for some great news and some spiritual words of well-being. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate you all tuning in. Those of you that are listening tonight, thank you for taking time away from your personal hobbies and or your family. Thank you.
Hi everyone. One of the best parts for me of being able to share some time with you is that it's given me a different perspective when I've read things mostly online, forms of social media, but it's given me a different eye to look for things that might be good to share. Today I have a short poem. It is written by Laura Kelly Fanucci. She's a published author with 6 books, and she writes syndicated columns that are shared in various publications nationwide. She's written a poem about things we might never take for granted, and I think it's appropriate for this time. It goes like this. When this is over, may we never again take for granted a handshake with a stranger. Full shelves at the grocery store, conversations with neighbors, a crowded theater, Friday night out. The taste of communion, a routine checkup, the school rush each morning, coffee with a friend. A stadium roaring, each deep breath. A boring Tuesday, life itself. When this ends, we may find that we have become more like the people we wanted to be, we were called to be, we hoped to be. And may we stay that way, better for each other, because of the worst. We also we've had a lot of good news today, and I have 2 more pieces. Let me see who's first. I don't know who's first yet. Okay. These precious babies are 4 of resident Alice Spillman's great-grandchildren. They are Emma, Claire, Eric, and May, and they are wishing resident Helen Bethune a very happy 105th birthday this Sunday, September 6th. We also want her to know that we all celebrate this important milestone with her as well. And Cedar Field wishes her a very happy day and a very special day this Sunday. And we have another one. The art you're looking at is a piece of art entitled Morning Has Broken. This was created by and donated to Cedar Field by resident Molly Peary. This piece of stained glass art is now on display as you enter Town Center Chapel. There will be a dedication of this piece tomorrow, September 3rd at 1 p.m. at the entrance to Town Center Chapel. Hopefully you will be able to stop by, but if you cannot tomorrow, please do take a moment to come by at some point and just enjoy the beauty of this piece